Today, I'm going to show you how a single version of the truth on Snowflake for asset management could look like. We'll run through these queries on Snowsight, run some of these queries in the classic UI as well, and talk about how this is an asset management open source demo. And also, we did have a slide deck in a previous video. So let's get to it. So this is Snowsight. As you can see, it's just a simple URL, so very easy to democratize data and push it to everybody. And here are these filters that applies to everything here in your dashboard. And there's a trader and there's Charles, or we could select another trader and have it filter over here. And we're looking at this ticker symbol Amazon right here. And our compute power is off in right now, but if we wanted to just fire a query, it'll turn on. And we're looking at the last 12 months of Amazon stock for the data that we have. We have data up till November 16th, well, November 20th over here. And you see that's 12 months of data. If we wanted to change the filter, and let's just say look at the last 6 months, as you can see, it's applying. It's going to turn on the compute power. This green light will turn on. So now Snowflake is waking up and it's sending the query to Snowflake. And there we have it. So now we have various values over here. So as you can see, this is the story is the global head of trading wants to have all of the data for all of his positions and see at a granular level the trades, cash, P&L, and positions for his entire bank. So this is over 2 billion rows of data. So let's take a look at this. So this is position over time, right? As you can see, for any day, we could see, let's say on November 2nd, what was the market value, the cash used, the P&L, number of shares cumulative, and the closing price. Okay, and as you can see, this is for the stock ticker Amazon over here for the last 6 months, and we could even a user could even dive into any of these details over here. Should they want to export it to Excel or another tool, they could do that as well. So Snowsight itself is very powerful. And if they wanted to just use this dashboard, they can as well. And if they wanted to see other tickers, let's say Tesla, just click over here. And as you can see, it's applying this change to this entire dashboard. And then there, our computing power turned on. Previously, it was actually using a cached version of data, so the compute wasn't even being used. And this is running this entire demo on small compute power, so it doesn't even need any of the more powerful computing power that Snowflake can easily provide to you, up to using our t-shirt sizes, medium, large, extra large, so on and so forth, up to 4 extra large. So these very simple select queries over 2 billion rows, Snowflake barely breaks a sweat to do this. So as you can see, these are the Tesla market values, and these are the values that we got from the Snowflake Data Marketplace, which we're going to show you later on in the demo. And so to build this demo, which is open source, you don't even need to figure out how to do that data engineering to get it. You're just going to use the Snowflake Data Marketplace to get that data. So as you can see, I just wanted to show you some real world metrics like position over time, the symbol closing price, trader's current P&L, position and P&L for symbol and trader since the date that we set, which was 6 months ago, their current portfolio P&L for everything, and this is their various positions, Amazon, Caterpillar, Capital One Finance, so on and so forth, that you see over here. Right, so this is Snowsight, right? So it's very great. It's great to share for developers to develop and then share this with various teams, whether they're executives or other marketing or sales or whatever teams that you have. And then as you can see, it's very easy to share this data with the authorized users. All right, so that's Snowsight. And Snowsight is very powerful. We could have almost another session on it. It allows you to run various queries, gives you IntelliSense. It has a data marketplace. It just has a ton of features. But right now, we're going to go into the classic UI as well and run some queries against it. Okay, so we won't go over the problem statement, benefits, and what we'll see because we kind of covered that during our previous video. So what we're going to do is just run some queries against this, and that tells the story as to uh, what Snowflake value it's going to bring to you. Okay, so let's say here we've got the context. This tells us which row we're using right now. We can change the warehouse size if we wanted to, and let's just view the table and column comments for data dictionary. So one of the benefits of Snowflake is that it's a single version of the truth that can be used across the entire global firm, even if it's entire, let's say it's a big bank with 200,000 users, you could still have everybody access this one table. It is that highly concurrent. Okay, and as you can see, in the financial services world, we often have to define what our various values are, and then have this exposed to our various BI tools of choice on the trading floor or elsewhere for regulators, so on and so forth, whether or not it's a mathematical formula or whatnot. So here, as you can see, these are the various views that we have: base tables, column level attributes. So this could be like, let's say you wanted a present value formula or some other formula, you could explain all that over here. And then that will cascade up to your, or down to your BI tools, okay? So let's go through some common queries that are used by in the financial services. So here, let's just run this. And it's saying, what's the current P&L for a trader, let's say Charles, and this is a view on a trade table, so always updated as the trade is populated, okay? So let's float over this trade table. As you can see there's 2 billion rows on this trade table. And so we're running a view over this trade table, and Snowflake is returning data in under a second with just small compute power. So that just goes to show how easy it is to get Snowflake and to not really use that much compute power. I mean, this is barely Snowflake breaking a sweat. And let's look at ranked P&L for a random trader. So the reason I'm doing this is you're going to see there's no indexes, statistics, vacuum, or maintenance. So as you can see, there's no way for us to know what this query is going to be, or Snowflake to know, but it's going to say, okay, this is for the most recent position that we have, November 20th. As you can see, this trader here, VPN, with PM name is AC. These are just their initials. This is the cash that they used on. Cash is going to be negative because they're using cash to buy these shares. These are the numbers of shares that they have now. This is their closing price as of that November 20th date, and this is the market value, and then the P&L. So we did all of these formulas, and so you can actually use them, let's say in a proof of concept, or after some testing in your production environment. It's all open source. If you're going to use production, definitely do some testing as well. But yeah, I did some testing and it seems legit. And of course, you can always use external functions and whatnot to extend it with some FX rates or whatever. But I digress. Let's go on. So we showed the rank P&L, and that was no indexes, no statistics, no vacuum, no maintenance, right? And in a separate demo, we're actually going to build it. And it only takes pretty much these 3 scripts to build it. It only takes 5 minutes to build this demo. So now, what is my position in P&L as of a date? So let's just run this. And as you can see, what is my position in P&L as of date? So since January 1st, for the symbol Microsoft and the same trader, as you can see, we're starting off with 0 P&L because that's when this trader started trading. So it took about $1 million each day in a dollar cost averaging to just buy shares, about 10,000 shares, and at that closing price. So that was the market value on January 2nd. And of course, your P&L was 0 because they're buying at the closing price. And each day they're dollar cost averaging by buying $1 million more. So we're using window functions, and I'm going to show you the view in a second. So as you can see, they're spending about $1 million each day to get a round number of the number of shares cumulative, and that's the closing price. So that's the market value, and that's the P&L. As you can see, P&L dropped, negative 36,000 the first day, but then it started coming back up. And so their strategy was pretty good, except for this one dip day, January 29th. But you hold on for dear life and you're going to do okay. Your dollar cost averaging, and you're just accumulating more shares as you go along. So this is their position P&L as of each day. So you can see we're in February now. They're still doing well. The cash that they're using seems to have stabilized in February. So it doesn't look like they're buying or changing any positions here in February. And then in March, they're starting to gain a little cash because they're looks like they're selling some of their positions, and so their share count is slowly dropping as well. So it's showing you the mechanics of financial services. And then starting in April, you see all of these cash cumulative and the closing, the cash cumulative, number of shares cumulative pretty much stabilize, as you can see right here, because they're just holding it. We're going to get to that trade level granularity very soon. So, and so what I'm going to show you now is the view that we use to calculate this. And it's a dynamic view using window functions, all right? So this is a view. It's a view, as you can see, position with a comment on what this is. And so it uses some advanced windowing functions such as partitioning, unbounded proceeding, so on and so forth, doing some inner joins, some common table expressions. So the benefit of this is you only pay storage for that trade table where we have 2 billion rows, and the trade table drives everything. Now, a lot of customers then like to use this use case to stream data into Snowflake, and then have these window function views to return data in just a second, as we could tell from our queries before. So it just brings a lot of use case for unlimited concurrency on Snowflake, and readers don't block writers on Snowflake's unique architecture as well. So literally everybody in your entire bank could be pretty much running very similar queries and getting results in 1 second with just small compute power. That's pretty revolutionary. And if you think about the use cases that opens up to, it allows you real-time risk management, real-time P&L. You don't have to, you save money on having and time on having to reconcile data because it's all in Snowflake's single version of the truth. Okay, so now let's look at the actual granular data. So this is the trade table. And as you can see, this is a trade table. And remember that trader Charles buying at Microsoft. And so this is the trade level granularity. This is that 2 billion row table that we actually looked at. As you can see, it returned in 280 milliseconds. So not even a second. And as you can see, so now you don't, as you notice, there's no data marks or anything. So you save a lot of, I guess, time and money from having to pre-aggregate this data, where you don't have to have a data mart or a cube or anything like that, or another like kind of semantic layer to get this data. You can directly query this data directly on Snowflake. And so what's going on here? So as you can see, at that closing price on January 2nd, they bought 10,000 shares. The cash was about that $1 million that I mentioned earlier. And you can see, we were correct in saying that they were just buying every day, even as the price was going up. And then starting on February, they decided to hold. So as you can see, the number of shares didn't increase anymore. And of course, their cash outlay was 0 because they weren't buying anything. So let's see what happens in March. In March, they decided to sell, and so they wisely only sold a couple of shares, probably to get liquidity for something, and then they needed. So then now their cash is increasing again because they liquidated those shares. Okay, so and that was during March, and then pretty much April and going forward to present day, they just decided to hold their position. And so this is the trade level granularity that we're getting. And so as you can see in Snowflake, you can have trade level granularity for everybody who's querying your data, and then you can aggregate with views and get that real-time access without really needing to materialize the views or add any indexings or any other structure. So it's just really high performance even at 2 billion records. And Snowflake allows some people even have petabytes in a single table, and then they can add more optimizations that Snowflake allows at that intense scale, such as search optimization service or materialized views. But this is at 2 billion records, and Snowflake's barely breaking a sweat, and it was very easy to develop. Okay, and so now let's look at this trade table. As you can see, it's just regular ANSI SQL, right? And so that's the benefit of that is it's a very low learning curve. It's like SQL is the lingua franca of big data, and it's for 20 30 years. So it's very easy that we found for people to learn on Snowflake. And then of course Snowflake has a lot of unique extensions and synonyms for other systems as they migrate from some of the other legacy or newer platforms onto Snowflake. So it really makes Snowflake's learning curve very easy. And all right, so let's do a quick recap before we show the data marketplace. So let me scroll back up here. So what did we see? We saw the data dictionary over here. So you can see that's the single the definitions. We saw the P&L for the trader for a trader. We can grab a random trader and see their current position, and we can also see a random trader for any date. So as of any date. And so what is my position in P&L as of date? We did a deep dive into Charles over here, and we did a trade, looked at the trade granularity as well, and saw that it was all ANSI SQL. Okay, so now that shows the business value. So now we are getting this data from a stock history, but where I got that from was this Xepo US Stocks Daily. So Xepo they had data scientist teams that chose to share this stock market history for the benefit of all Snowflake users. So let's actually show you how I did that. So all you had to do is go to this data marketplace, explore the data marketplace, and you're gonna get instant access to terabytes of data, and we have a lot of free providers as well, and premium providers as well. So in terms of the financial services space, the big players in there are S&P and FactSet. So you can get instant access to any of this data. And if you hit this ready to query button, you can see a lot of the essentially this data that can be instantly available to you. This is the data that I use, the Xepo stock market data. So I didn't have to do any DDL or ETL. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna look at data right now. Let's say you want to look at short data. So if I wanted to see this S3 partners, I would just click this. I would hit get data. I would put this in, what rows I want to have access to this. I accept and create database, and that's it. It's literally just a pointer to this data, and now I can query this data instantly on Snowflake. Okay. All right. So here is that S3 data demo right there, and as you see, I can instantly see this data. Let's do a quick select star from it. So as you can see, no ETL was needed, no DDL, no having to talk to a business admin. You can literally have college interns do an order of magnitude faster this without any specialized skill sets. So that's the power of Snowflake's data marketplace. So again, that gives you the power of you can have all of your FactSet, S&P data come instantly through Snowflake. And other data providers, we're constantly adding new data providers, and that's the network effect that we mentioned during the slides. So as you can see, here's that same data marketplace. This is some Starbucks data, and if I wanted to use some common tables, for instance, to get the latest data, that's no problem. It's right there as well. And then of course Snowflake's specialty, it allows you to instantly compute up and down. I mean, we were just using a small, all throughout the system was just in a small warehouse. So let's do a quick recap of what we saw. We used the data marketplace to instantly get stock history, no more waiting, no more ETL pain. We queried the trade cash positions and P&L on Snowflake and show that support your business logic. It's all open source. Feel free to build it on Snowflake on your own. It only takes 5 minutes to build, and we have a video on that. And use window functions to automate cash position and P&L reporting, and you can get started quickly with this code. Thank you very much for your time.